December 1989. We are so close to the 90s, I can feel it. New wave is going to give way to grunge. I think that's what happened. I'll be out of the Air Force soon and into academia for a short time. But first, we got to get through December 1989. And let's see. So I was in Iceland still. And while I was there, a couple of times I got to go to Reykjavik, the capital city. It was, I don't remember how many kilometers from Rockville, where I was stationed. But yeah, I got there a few times. It's a beautiful, incredible city. Very expensive because everything needs to be imported, except basically fish. If I remember correctly, we went to Pizza Hut, and for 4 people, it was $80. That's my recollection anyway. And I seem to recall we were told that, like, people, if you were in downtown Reykjavik, where the stores and everything were, people would be pushing their babies in the strollers, and if they wanted to go in a store, they would just leave their baby in the stroller on the sidewalk outside the store, and they could go in. And if the baby started acting up, if someone was walking by, they would just sort of rock the stroller. I don't know if that's true. That's what we were told. Maybe that was just Icelandic propaganda. My one regret while I was in Iceland is I did not buy a book in Icelandic. Went to a bookstore and they had Stephen King, among many other things, but I could have gotten a Stephen King book in Icelandic, and I didn't do it. I really wish I had. I did buy a CD from an Icelandic band. They were a top 40 band getting radio play, and it was all in Icelandic. I don't remember the name of the band, but the name of the album, and pardon my pronunciation, the name of the album was Ikke Vil Pavbatna, if I remember correctly. They had a big hit off of that album called Dyrith Gengur Lust, which I was told translates to The Animal is Loose. It was basically a party song. It was about, just somebody partying their ass off. So that was cool. I don't have that anymore. But it was cool to listen to, even if I didn't understand anything that was being said. So there's my Icelandic anecdote for this video. And now we can get to the books. If you watched the last video, I read 21 books. I think I've read a third this month. So in November, 21 books. In December, about a third of that. Maybe less. No. That looks like almost exactly a third. So anyway, let's get to it. The first book that I read in December of 1989 was High Adventure by Donald E. Westlake. And this is one of his, I believe it's a standalone. I don't think there were any follow-ups or anything. Action, comedy, suspense. Excuse me. The main character is Kirby Galway, and he was a low-level drug smuggler in Belize, something like that. He ends up with this worthless plot of land, and he starts selling fake artifacts that he's found on his land. He goes so far as to build a fake temple or pyramid, hires some Mayan descendants as actors, and has this thriving business all based on a scam. And of course, people want to get in on it, want to take over, want his money, and shenanigans ensue. It's just good Donald E. Westlake stuff. Excuse me. Next up, we have Mission Earth Volume 7, Voyage of Vengeance by L. Ron Hubbard. So we're getting towards the end. This was a 10-book series. And let's see. So we have a character named Countess Crack, who's been kidnapped. She's been taken off planet Earth, and she's going to be held prisoner somewhere. And then Jethro Heller, essentially our main character, and they're aliens who have come to Earth to take it over, save it. So Jethro Heller, he's all depressed that Countess Crack is gone. He thinks she's dead. He's at a roadhouse, just drinking his troubles away, but of course trouble's going to find him. And then, just all sorts of crazy alien shenanigans. And the next book I read was Mission Earth Volume 8, Disaster, where just more shenanigans ensue. Essentially, the aliens have come down to save the planet so that they can take it over, but they don't want, a place with climate change and war and all this other crap that goes on here. So they're trying to fix it before they take it over. At this point, they've succeeded, but there's a conspiracy going on their home planet, and nobody knows who's behind things that are happening. And so, again, more shenanigans. And I have not looked ahead, but this might be the last book in the series that I read. I did not finish it. I don't know if I read number 9. I know I didn't read number 10. So anyway, there you go. Books 2 and 3 for December were Mission Earth, Volume 7, Volume 8 by L. Ron Hubbard. Then we have The Exploits of Ebenism by Craig Shaw Gardner. This actually is like an omnibus. It has 3 books, which were A Malady of Magics, A Multitude of Monsters, and A Night in the Nether Hells. So this is comedy, fantasy comedy, whatever you want to call it. I like Craig Shaw Gardner's stuff. It's very light writing. I mean, this isn't the type of heavy fantasy of J.R.R. Tolkien or any of the more modern people, Guy K. Gavriel. Anyway, so yeah, 3 books about Ebenism, and his apprentice or whomever is actually the narrator. And like something happens to Ebenism that makes him allergic to magic, so he sneezes all the time when he tries to use magic or magic's around. They have to find a cure for that. They go on quests. It's just, again, it's comedy fantasy. And I think it was probably okay. I like Craig Shaw Gardner generally. Then we have, let's see, Love's Executioner and Other Tales of Psychotherapy by Irvin D. Yalom, MD. That's how I have it all written down. This is a nonfiction book by a psychologist or psychiatrist, a guy in the mental health field, just talking about essentially psychotherapy, and 10 of his patients, I'm assuming he changed names or whatever, but basically goes over 10 cases and just showcases how psychotherapy can help, the problems that a psychotherapist may have to deal with. All this stuff is interesting. Then we have Dreamthorpe by Chet Williamson. Dreamthorpe is the name of a town, and our main characters are Tom Brewer and Laura Stark, who fall in love in this town of Dreamthorpe. They don't know that there's a serial killer coming to town to kill Laura, and that's it. It's a horror novel. I don't really remember much about it. I think I've read other Chet Williamson, but I can't say for sure. I feel like I read one relatively recently in the last few years. I know I'm almost certain I had one. All right, so hopefully I'm coming through. I feel like I'm not speaking as loudly as I should be. See, my volume keeps going down. I don't know what that's about, but hopefully you can hear me. The last book, December 1989. Einstein's Space and Van Gogh's Sky by, let's see if I can read this, Lawrence Lashan and Henry Margenau. Something like that. I love this book. It's nonfiction. A little anecdote. Years and years and years ago, decades ago, I was on my first date with a young woman. We were talking about, I had met her. She worked at a bookstore. So we were on our date. We were having dinner. We were talking about books, talking about just different things. I happened to mention this book for whatever reason. Don't know exactly how it came up. But I mentioned this, this great book about, well, we'll get to that. It's called Einstein, Space, and Van Gogh's Sky. And this young woman reached into her purse and pulled out a copy of the book. She was currently reading it. That seemed like a good sign. Turns out it wasn't. It was a rather tumultuous relationship that did not end well. But anyway, back to the book. So the title, this is a book about reality, how we perceive reality, how there could possibly be multiple realities, or at least we perceive things that way. I think the title is perfect because essentially you have Einstein, you have Van Gogh. They both look up at the night sky and they're seeing two completely different things. Einstein is seeing, giant balls of gas, burning gas, and black holes and light speed and all these scientific things, while Van Gogh is seeing starry night. And that, to me, sums up what this book is. I've read it twice. This is the first time. I do not own a copy right now. I absolutely need to get a copy again and read it again. If you have any interest at all in perception and reality and how people see things, just a fascinating book. And that's it. That's all that I read in December of 1989. I think it's a really interesting mix. You've got a thriller adventure book, some L. Ron Hubbard sci-fi, fantasy comedy, psychology, horror, and not sure, science, I suppose, for Einstein, Space, and Van Gogh's Sky. Yeah, pretty eclectic, I think. I'm a little proud of myself for December of 1989. All right, but that's it. That's all I've got. Not a lot. It was I was going to say it was a short month, but that'd be February, and this was December. Anyway, if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comics, board games, and fuzzy animals, is ErikSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ErikSmith 5757. That's all I've got. So until next time, read more books.